I love Poshmark. I mean, my YouTube channel is called Becky Park on Poshmark, but I also hate it sometimes. And it seems like a lot of you do too. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the things that we hate about Poshmark, as well as some tips that I have on making those things that we hate maybe a little bit more bearable. So stay tuned.
Won't nobody love you the way they should. Won't nobody check up on you, make sure you're good. Won't nobody check those body tremors for your neck.
Hey everyone, my name is Becky Park on Poshmark, and I am a part-time reseller on Poshmark and eBay and Mercari. And as you can see, I'm not in my normal space where I usually make my videos. I'm in yet another hotel room because I'm at competition with my students. But a few days ago on my Instagram, which is at Becky Park on Poshmark, I asked a question, and I asked, what do you hate about Poshmark? Vent here. And oh my goodness, you would not believe the number of responses I got, as well as which things just kept coming up over and over again. So I thought that we would talk about some of those frustrations in this video. And then at the end, we'll also talk about some that I don't really have tips for. And Poshmark, if you're watching, these are things that we would really like for you to fix as sellers on your platform. So let's look at the breakdown of what people were saying on Instagram. As you can see, people hate sharing. Oh my goodness, everyone hates sharing so much. And then aside from that, the next highest number of votes was just their lack of customer service, especially the fact that they don't have a customer service phone number that you can call and talk to like a real life human being about whatever issue it is that you're facing on the app. And then also, some other things that came up a few times was things like the inability to run a sale the way that you would on eBay, lowballers, how long it takes to get paid, shipping is too expensive for small items. So you can see there's a bunch of things. I'm going to scroll down a little bit because there's more. All really great things. And I'm sorry if some of these topics don't make sense. I was trying to just write out short little phrases so that I would know what people were talking about. But in this video, we're going to talk about, in this yellowish green color, just some tips that I have on what you can do with these 4 items that kind of suck when it comes to Poshmark. So hopefully these tips will help those things suck a little bit less. And then the things that I've put in blue are things that I also really struggle with. And I am going to kind of make a plea to Poshmark to really think about doing something about these issues, especially, in their newest updates. So the biggest thing that everyone across the board hated when it came to Poshmark was the amount that they need to share. In order to make the maximum number of sales, you have to constantly share the items in your closet so that they are always at the top of the search feed when people are searching for things of that brand or things of that style or things with that keyword. The more you share, the more your items are at the top of the feed, and the theory is the more sales that you make. And this is a task that everyone seems to hate, including me. I hate sharing so much. I have over 600 items in my Poshmark closet right now. It takes me on average 20 to 30 minutes, and it's just not how I want to spend my day sitting there clicking buttons and you know what I mean? So we're going to talk about just some tips that I have. None of these are mind-blowing, but hopefully there is something in here that can help you making sharing not as awful as it needs to be. The first is kind of obvious, but also involves some more money on your end, and that's to outsource your sharing. So for example, I have a student of mine that I pay to share my closet once every evening. I know other people pay virtual assistants, or some people get family members to do it for free, but if you can get someone else to do it, whether you have to pay them or not, that's definitely a way that you don't have to do it. But usually in order to outsource your sharing, you're gonna have to spend some money. The second thing I would do when it comes to sharing is experiment. Experiment with how many times you should share your closet in order to get the maximum number of sales. So what I mean by that is maybe for 1 week, maybe you share as often as you humanly can and keep track of how many sales you're making when you do that. And then maybe the next week, try sharing your closet only once or twice a day and see if there's a huge difference. Maybe there isn't. Maybe because of the kinds of brands that you're selling more rare brands or brands that, aren't super oversaturated in the Poshmark app. And if that's the case, maybe you don't really need to share your items as much, because even without sharing hourly or, every 3 or 4 hours or something like that, maybe your item still stays relatively high up in the search feed. Now, I imagine that this would not be the case if you were selling a lot of Loft, a lot of Banana Republic, a lot of Gap or Forever 21. Those are brands that are very heavily saturated on Poshmark. So my assumption would be that if you're not sharing those items very frequently, that your items are going to get buried in the search feed. But experiment and just see how that works. I'd also try, maybe instead of sharing your entire closet in one sitting, maybe try sharing a few items from your closet throughout the day so that you get like one full closet share in, but you're sharing a few things here and there throughout the day. Just experiment, and maybe you'll figure out a system that works for you and it doesn't involve you sharing an ungodly amount of time. The last tip I have for you when it comes to sharing is, if you're gonna do it and you're gonna sit down and take the time, be productive while you're doing it. You can listen to like a podcast in the background and kind of use it as a time to grow, or even, I know that there are some podcasts that are just like fun and they're just entertaining. Like I love the Office Ladies podcast. So maybe you can just have something like that on in the background that you can listen to while you're mindlessly sharing your Poshmark closet. Maybe your Poshmark sharing time can be like your me time. And that's when you get to binge your favorite Netflix shows, or you get to catch up on YouTube videos. So, it's like you're kind of watching out of the corner of your eye while you're sharing your closet. And that's a good way to multitask so that you're not just sitting there sharing your closet, but you're actually doing more than one thing. And hopefully the other thing is much more enjoyable than doing this. Okay, let's move on to lowballers. So I have noticed that as of late, people have been lowballing a lot more on Poshmark. I don't know why that is. It is super annoying. And, one of the things that people had mentioned as a hate towards Poshmark was that unlike eBay, Poshmark doesn't allow you to have a minimum offer amount. So like on eBay, if you list a pair of jeans for $40, let's say, eBay will give you the option, if you turn on best offers, to say, I don't even want to see offers that are less than blank amount. And you get to put in what that amount is, whether it's reasonable, like let's say $20. I don't want to see offers less than $20. But you could even say, I don't want to see any offers at all, or I don't want to see any offers under $36. And so it's a way to, one, kind of help you save time, and two, like you won't get upset over it and all riled up because somebody's trying to lowball you. Now, Poshmark doesn't allow you to do that. And on top of that, there just are so many lowballers out there. A tip that I have for you, and this is easier said than done, especially for a lot of people. For me, I just try not to take lowballs personally, and it's not really difficult for me. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that, like, I'm a high school teacher. I have had much worse said and done to me than somebody sending me kind of an insulting offer on an item. Like, I've been cussed out, I've been whatever, right? So like someone being like, I'll give you $10 for this $50 shirt. I'm not like really mad about it. It's irritating, but I don't get mad. So the tip that I have for you is, one, don't decline. If you decline, now there's no possibility for a sale. I always counter. And furthermore, something that I hear a lot of people doing on Instagram is counter with a message. So you can create a bundle, put that item in the bundle, and leave a message for the potential buyer saying something along the lines of, thank you so much for checking out my closet. Unfortunately, I can't accept that offer that you sent me, but I am able to let the item go for a blank amount. Hopefully we can meet in the middle and I can ship this out to you ASAP. Now, Poshmark has come out with research saying that if you personally message a buyer, there's a greater percentage that they will actually buy the item from you. I don't remember what the exact percentage is. So it kind of kills two birds with one stone. One, you're leaving the door open for that sale to possibly happen. And two, you are increasing your chances of that sale happening by personally reaching out. Could they still say no and be like, nope, I only want it for the ridiculous offer that I sent you? Yeah, they could say that. But chances are maybe they will agree to meet you in the middle, you'll make the sale, and that's something that would have never happened if you declined the offer. The next thing that people vented about as far as something that they hate about Poshmark is the fact that when you send out offers to likers, you have to also include a shipping discount. And especially if you're sending out offers to likers on items that are already pretty low in price, it just seems like it's eating into your profit so much, almost to the point of, are you even going to profit off of this item at all? So the one suggestion that I have for that is pretty similar to, the lowball tip that I had. Instead of sending out offers to likers, especially on those lower priced items, create a bundle. And I know it kind of stinks because if you have an item with like 8 new likes on it, then you'd have to do that for like 8 people. You'd have to create 8 bundles and send out a little message, or even just send the discount through the bundle feature, because if you do that, then you don't have to offer a shipping discount at all. But I know that that's kind of tedious and more work if you have multiple likes. But especially if something has just received 1 like and you want to send out that offer to liker, it'll probably take you like 2 extra seconds to create the bundle and send an offer that way, rather than doing it the way that Poshmark tries to get you to do it, which is with discounted shipping. And then the last thing that we'll talk about that people have vented about in terms of things that they hate about Poshmark that I have a tip for is that Poshmark only allows you to upload 8 pictures per item. And although there are a lot of people on Poshmark who don't even utilize all 8 pictures, there are some sellers who feel like 8 is just not enough to really show their product. And so the tip that I would have for that is to use photo editing apps like Layout by Instagram. When you use apps like Instagram's Layout, you're able to get anywhere from like 2 to I think 8 pictures in one square layout. So in one of the 8 photo spots on Poshmark for a listing, you can potentially actually fit 8 pictures. Now they would be small, but you could get them in there. And some people want more pictures because maybe they have an item that has a lot of really intricate detail, maybe like a lot of beading or embroidery, and they want to show close-ups of each of those details, but they can't fit all of those pictures in a Poshmark listing. Or maybe something has multiple flaws and they want to just make sure that they take really good pictures of those flaws so that people know what they're buying. I know for myself, I like to include pictures of measurements, which means like I will take my, what is this called? Measuring tape. I'll take my measuring tape and I'll like place it on the garment. And for most garments, I'll do like 2 to 3 measurements. So that's 2 to 3 pictures right there that I've used up just for measurements. But if I really wanted to, I could fit 4 measurement pictures or 2 measurement pictures, collage style on Instagram Layout, and save spots for pictures that way. Same thing goes for like the care tag. You know, a lot of care tags, you want to take pictures of both sides because you want people to know the material content as well as how to wash the item or how to clean the item. And so you could include pictures of both in one side-by-side collage using Instagram Layout. And that way you don't have to waste 2 picture spots in your Poshmark listing just to show the tags of the garment. So that's one tip that I have, but I get it. Like, it'd be nice to have more space. It'd be nice to be allowed more pictures because then you can offer a clearer picture of what it is that you're selling. So the next portion of this video we will call Dear Poshmark. Dear Poshmark, these are things that your sellers desperately want because it's gonna either A, help them make more sales, or B, make selling on Poshmark much easier and much more enjoyable, which means people will stay on the app longer and they won't quit because they get so frustrated. So the first thing, and this is something that came up so many times, Poshmark sellers want a customer service phone number that they can call, that they could pick up their phone and be like, hello, Poshmark. You have an email, but let's be honest, you don't usually get back to your sellers in a very timely manner. And sometimes it's just too hard to explain the situation in an email. We just need to talk to a human being. You are a pretty big company. And yes, we understand that that means you need to employ some more people because you need people to man the phones, but it's one way that you could show us that you care about us and that you want to help us when we need help. So man, oh man, if you could get on that, that would be amazing. Secondly, while eBay has a slew of their own problems, one thing that they have that you do not and that we desperately want is the ability to run a blanket sale across our Poshmark closet. We want to be able to click a button that says, run a sale on my Poshmark closet on all of my items for X% off. We want that sale price to show as people are looking up our items in search listings, rather than hoping that they'll come to our closet, see the listing that we've created for whatever sale we're trying to run in our closet. But we want people to be able to see these discounted prices right away because that's probably going to help the item sell faster if buyers know that there's a sale being run on that particular item. And here's the thing, Poshmark, if we are able to run sales and make more sales as a result, you'll make more money too, right? So, Another thing that we would really love for you to get on is varying your shipping costs. We love the fact that we can send up to £5 for, what is it now, like $7.12? I don't know. We know that that's not the case on eBay or Mercari or even Pirate Ship, but let's be honest, we are not selling that many things that weigh £5. We're selling a lot of things that weigh under £1. we're selling a lot of things even, especially for you jewelry sellers that weigh under 6 ounces. And we have to tell the buyer that they need to pay over $7 to get this tiny pair of earrings sent out to them. And that's kind of ridiculous. You have this beautiful relationship with USPS. Can't you figure out a way to lower shipping on items that just don't weigh anything? Like, if you need help understanding the concept, call me. I'll talk you through it. Another complaint that came up is that you guys don't really offer very much data. There is the seller report, and that is wonderful, and that's a somewhat new feature, and it's nice to finally have something that tells us what all of our sales were and how long those items were listed for. But one thing that I love about eBay that I wish Poshmark would have is that seller hub where you can see all of the information that you want to see in one place. You can see how much money you've made in the past month, in the past 2 months, in the past year. You can see the impressions as far as like how many people are actively in your store and looking at your items. There's just so much information to help you make educated decisions on how to run your reselling business, and Poshmark doesn't really allow for that. I would love to see how many times people are clicking on my items, for example, because it would give me a good idea of, am I pricing things well? Or it'd give me a good idea of, does sharing more really help more people see my items? There's so much more data that you could offer your buyers to help them sell more. And again, if we sell more, then you make more money. Finally, the last complaint that we'll talk about in this video is that y'all are very invested in adding all these new markets, but I will be honest with you, I've never bought anything by searching in a market. Like I literally can't even think of a time when I would even try to go to a market. And the reason for that is because there's a search bar. So when I'm looking for something, I'm gonna type what I'm looking for in the search bar because usually I'm looking for something pretty specific. I don't understand why there is so much money and energy being invested in creating these new markets when there's all these other things that you guys could be investing your time and energy in. Again, looking at it from the perspective of what's going to make you guys money, I've spent a lot of money on Poshmark and it's never been by looking through one of those markets. Now, all that being said, Poshmark, I do love you. I do think that you have changed my life in many ways. You've provided a way for me to have this really fun and exciting and fulfilling side hustle, and I truly am so thankful for you. But we are all works in progress, including you. And these are just some of the things that the Poshmark community has spoken up and said, hey, here are some things that you can do to really help us out. And the more you help us out, the more we can help you out. So I would love to hear your thoughts on the different things that I talked about in this video. Do you agree with them? Do you have any other grievances to file against Poshmark, things that you wish they would work on? My hope is that someone from Poshmark would watch this. And maybe if you are watching, you can read the comments down below too, just to get an idea of what other things your sellers would really like for you to do. Just so that you can get an idea of what other things are really important to your Poshmark sellers. Because again, I don't think I can say this enough. The happier we are and the more we're selling on this platform, the more money you make too. So it's a win-win for everybody, right? I hope you understand that this video was not made out of malice or out of hate. I have nothing but love for Poshmark, but girl's got some growing to do and I want to be here to help her do it. Until Poshmark is everything that we want it to be, continue to visit my YouTube channel for more tips, more tricks, as well as hauls, what sold videos, all that kind of stuff. If you haven't subscribed yet and this is your first time here, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well as pushing that notification bell so that you are alerted every time I upload new content. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you hit that like button on your way out. Thank you guys so much and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!